Alright, so I had put up a poll on Instagram to see if y'all wanted a story time. Y'all said y'all did. It was 100%. I also had put up 3 different story times to be able to tell. The one where worst time getting cheated on. Number 2 was the time my ex broke in my house and stole all my shit. And number 3 was the time I went to jail for 30 days for something I didn't do. I don't know what percentage of y'all voted at the time. It's 5 o'clock right now, so at the time of this recording, y'all said it is focusing on everything but my face. All right, there we go. So at the time of this recording, I'm gonna screenshot this so I can put it up on screen. So 44% of y'all want number 2, and 56% of y'all want number 3. And number 3 is the time I got locked up for 30 days for something I didn't do. Which means tomorrow's video is gonna be about number 2, which is the time my ex broke in my house and stole all my shit. And y'all don't really care about niggas getting cheated on, but I'm gonna do a video on it anyway. So yeah, so let's get into the story. Boom. So in order to give y'all a backstory on how this even started, I was talking to this girl at one point in time and things kind of went sour in the relationship. I broke up with her because I found out that basically one night she told me she was in a study hall or a study group or whatever, you know, college, whatever. And come to find out, she was on the campus of a college with another dude, and she had basically kissed the dude. I ended up finding out, so I broke up with her. So boom, that was that. So boom, 2 months go by, right? So boom, she shows up at my house one day. No, matter of fact, let me rewind. So that day started off as a normal day, you know what I'm saying? Boom, boom. I was chilling with this girl, and I ended up dropping the girl off coming home. On my way home, I get a text message that says she finna go to a mutual friend of ours' house to get her hair did. Okay, cool, whatever. You finna get your hair did. What you telling me for? Like, so that's what I said. I text back, I'm like, what you telling me for? She was like, I'm gonna stop by there. I text back, no, you're not. She didn't respond. So bad. I get home, I take a shower, I lay down. Bet. Next thing I know, I hear my door opening. I'm like, damn, who the hell is that at my door? And I open my eyes, and it's her. I'm like, what are you doing here? So she proceeds to tell me, I told you I wanted to talk to you. Talk to me about what? About us. Ain't nothing to talk about. You know, I'm keeping it short, sweet, to the point. So at this point, I'm like, you know what? I need you to leave, just like that. And she's like, no, I'm not going nowhere. So I get up, I go to the door, I open the door. I was like, bruh, I need you to leave. And I know what y'all gonna say, why you leave your front door unlocked? Where I lived at, the whole street is family. I ain't worried about nobody breaking in. I stay like literally at the top of a hill on the street, so like everybody can see my house. So it ain't like you could do something without being seen anyway. So boom, she don't want to leave. So at this point, I guess we going back and forth. So my cousin ended up coming in the room, Stefan. He ended up coming in the room. He was like, hey, he wants you to go. You need to go. My other cousin ended up coming in. Both these niggas at the house with me. My other cousin ended up coming in. He was like, hey, he told you leave, just leave. We all telling her she need to go. She talking about, I'm not going nowhere. You can't make me leave. Woot, woot, woot. All this extra stuff. So I proceed. And the reason I'm telling y'all this is when we hear the story, when I tell y'all the story about the time the girl broke in my house and stole all my shit, this is going to prove why I handled that situation from this situation. I handled that situation because I learned from this situation. But anyway, so we all tell her she leave. She talking about she ain't gonna leave. So boom, I go to pick her up to get her outside. I go to walk past the threshold of the door. She hold on to both edges, holding on tight, not trying to get outside. Bet. So I'm trying to get out. She's strong as shit at this point in time. Mind you, she every bit of like 5'7", 5'6". I'm 6 feet tall. I'm 280 to 300 pounds. She probably every bit of a $120. So she holding on to this door, strong as shit. She do not want to leave at all. So both my cousins get on each side to pry her hand off the door so we can get outside. Boom. Finally get outside. She ends up getting outside. She falls back on her butt. Her phone fell in the house. So for whatever reason, I'm just like, she don't need to come back in here. So I grabbed the phone. I chunked that motherfucker. Cool. Boom. Close the door. She gets outside. She sit out there for a minute. She stand up. She stand there for a minute. She go to her car. Instead of her just leaving, she sit in her car for like 10 minutes. Sitting there. I tell my cousin them, y'all go lock all the doors, windows, whatever. So she just sitting in her car. Boom. So in the process of her sitting in her car, she, like after about 10, 15 minutes, she decides to leave. Now, this is around the time my grandma was living, so she decided to leave from my house. My grandma stayed next door. So she goes next door to my grandmama's house. Okay, as long as you ain't up here. I get a phone call from my grandmama. My grandmama called me and asked me what's going on. I said, Grandmama, tell that crazy ass girl to go home. So my grandmama tells me, well, she down here and she say you done jumped on her. What? So I said, Grandma, tell that crazy ass girl to go home. Just like that. 5 minutes go by. My mama called. Come down here. I'm like, what the hell? So boom, I go down there. I'm sitting there, I'm like, what? Like, what? I told Grandma to tell her to go home. She won't tell her to go home. All right. So, my grandma was there. The pastor of the church was there for some reason. You know, old folks always hang with the pastor. So, my grandmama was there. The pastor of the church was there. The girl there. And my mama there. So, my mama asked me what's going on. I said, Mom, me and this girl broke up 2 months ago. Right? I said, she texted me, told me she was coming over here. I told her don't come. My mama said, you told me he told you to come. Did he tell you to come? The girl looked at my mama and said, what? It's either I told you to come or I didn't, right? Boom. That's how you know she was lying. So my mama looked at me and said, aren't you talking to a whole nother girl? I said, yes. You could have seen the soul leave her eyes when she heard that. I guess she didn't know. I mean, it wasn't like I was keeping it a secret from her. I didn't care what she knew. And I don't feel like it was my responsibility to tell her anyway. So boom. She sit there. So my mama said, little girl, I think it's time for you to go. She sits there, silent, staring off in the distance, not saying nothing, right? She do that for about 30 seconds. We all look at each other like, what the fuck? She gets up, she gets in her car, she leaves. Boom. I'm thinking this shit over. 10 minutes go by, because she didn't stay far away at all, of course. So 10 minutes go by. Her mama ended up calling my phone. Why you put your hands on my baby? You jumped on my baby. Da, 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 da. All this going off. I'm like, bruh, ain't nobody jump on your child. Like, what is you talking about? Mind you, I worked with her mother. Crazy. All right, bet. So, boom. Go to work. I'm seeing her mama there. Her mama got this stank face with me all the time. This go on for about another 2 weeks. I ended up getting a whole nother job. All right. This is where it get interesting. All right, I had to change where the camera was because it kept focusing on the steering wheel. All right. So, boom. That ends up happening. Fast forward 4 years, right? Boom. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning, right? I hear a knock on the door. Doom, 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 doom. I'm like, damn, who just at the door? So, me and the girl I'm with at the time laying in the bed, we hear a knock at the door. I'm like, who the fuck is this at the door? Look out the window, Rankin County Sheriff Department. I'm like, why the fuck the police outside? 4 years later now, remember this part. So boom, I'm like, okay, well maybe they're at the wrong house. They looking for somebody else. They trying to figure some other stuff out. I don't know. So boom, I go to the door. So first thing they asked, you Mr. Johnson? I was like, yeah. They was like, can you come outside and talk to us? I'm like, okay, cool. Me knowing in my mind, I ain't did nothing. I ain't been in no trouble. I don't know what y'all want. So I go outside, talk to them. So they was like, basically they were doing like a sweep, right? So they was like, yeah, we have a warrant for your arrest. I'm like, for what? They like, for simple assault. In my mind, I haven't been in no fight, so simple assault on who? We'll have to figure all that out when we get to the sheriff's station. Okay. So while they telling me this, mind you, the police all cool about it. They ain't even put me in handcuffs when they put me in the car. They was like, I was like, cool, I'll just go with y'all. I'm like, obviously it's a mistake. Y'all gonna have to bring me back to the house anyway, so shit. Cool, I'm gonna ride with y'all. We gonna go figure this out together. So boom, we riding down there. we listen to hip hop on the radio. Mind you, white officers, but we listening to hip hop on the radio on the way there. Did I forget to tell you? They pulled up to my house 3 SUVs deep behind this. So boom, we ride down there. We get to the station. He was like, all right, when I take you out the car, I'm gonna have to put you in handcuffs because I can't take you in the precinct without handcuffs on. All right, that's fine. So put the handcuffs on. We walk in. So I get in there and get up to the little front desk, and they was like, oh yeah, we gotta take your picture. I'm like, okay. So I stand up against the little wall. You know how you gotta take the picture like this, take the picture like this. You know how the picture's going. So boom. Take the pictures, take my fingerprints, get up to the front desk. And so I'm like, so yeah, what's going on? It was like, the woman behind the desk was like, oh yeah, you got simple assault, whatever. I'm like, against who? They said the name. I'm like, who the hell is that? I don't even know who they talking about. Like, I don't even know the name. I'm like, I don't remember the name or nothing. So then I sit there and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, who is that? And I'm sitting up thinking. So while they doing what they got to do behind the desk, I'm sitting there, I'm like, who is that? I heard that name before. And then it hit me. It's the girl. 4 years later. She had pressed charges on me 4 years ago. I done been pulled over. Everything. Nothing ever came up. Just randomly one day, 4 years later, they decided, we gonna go get him. All right, bet. So I get in there. I'm like, okay, so maybe I'm just gonna bond out. Whatever. I go get a bond, get out. Bro, they sit me in the little pod, the processing pod or whatever it is. I sit in there for about an hour. They bring me a whole jumpsuit, my nigga. And I'm like, what the jumpsuit for? Oh yeah, you gotta get out your clothes. They made me do the thing where you gotta bend over, grab your balls, cough, all that extra shit. So boom, they give me the jumpsuit. I put the jumpsuit on. They give me the cot thing, the blanket, a pillow. And I'm like, bro, I'm really going to jail. Like, for what, nigga? Like, I ain't did shit. All right, so boom. Get in the jail cell. I'm mad. I'm pissed, right? Don't nobody know I'm in jail yet. Nobody. The only person who knows is the girl I was talking to at the time and who she finna call. You know what I'm saying? So boom. So at this time, the phone is it's a phone in the little pod thing, so bet. So I decide to call my mama. I call my mama. What's going on? I tell her what's going on. She was like, what the hell? Da, 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 da. I'm like, okay, yeah, da, 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 da. Bruh, I didn't get a bond or nothing for 30 days. For 30 whole days, my nigga. I didn't go to court. I'm watching people come in for DUIs, running from the police. All these people going to court. They calling their names. They getting bonds. They getting out, in and out, in and out, in and out. I'm just stuck in jail, right? So about 20 days in, a guy comes in for a DUI. One of the DUI people I'm talking about. He look at me. He say, oh. I look at him. It's the girl brother, my nigga. He comes in there. He like, what you in here for? I said, bro, because of your sister. He was like, because of my sister. Mind you, it's been 4 years, so he confused just like me. I was like, bro, your sister pressed charges on me saying I jumped on her. The first thing out this nigga mouth, oh yeah, I remember when she came home and told my mama and daddy that. He said, bro, I know you, my nigga. He said, bro, I didn't believe that at all. He said, my daddy didn't believe it either. He said, it was my mama. He said my mama was the one going ham behind the shit. What? Bruh. So the daddy didn't believe it. The brother didn't believe it. Her sister believed that shit. She just messy and like drama. But her sister believed that shit and the mama believed that shit. Okay, bet. Let's fast forward to the 30th day. I finally get my name called to go to court. So bet, go to court early that morning at like 9:30. I get in there. They ask me, do I want to plead not guilty or guilty? I said, not guilty. Fuck. All right, bet. So he was like, well, we can have a trial today at 2 o'clock, whatever. All right, bet. So I go back to the cell. I'm finna go to trial at 2 o'clock. Got me fucked up. So, boom, 2 o'clock come. We ended up going back to the courtroom. So I get in there, and she's there. Mind you, this is 4 years later. Bruh, she just as mad as if the shit happened yesterday. I didn't do nothing to you. I broke up with you because you was kissing on a whole nother dude. Why are you mad? Why are you here? You still mad? Right? Boom. So before the court thing even start, the prosecutor take me and her sister to this back room, right? So the prosecutor was like, so are you gonna plead guilty or not guilty? I'm like, not guilty. He was like, well, if you know we find you guilty, that's 6 months to a year in jail. You're gonna be getting real used to that toothbrush you've been using. Okay, my nigga, like, I'm still pleading not guilty. Like, you're not finna scare me into saying I did something I didn't do. What the fuck? So I told him, I said, yeah, so it's still not guilty. He was like, all right, just remember I told you. Okay, my nigga. Like, and then her sister over there, he just acting like he just ain't did nothing. I had to watch my sister walk across the stage limping during her graduation because of what he did to her. What she was limping for? She was playing that act for y'all, huh? Mind you, this girl went to the ER and everything, but that's gonna come back up later. Let's go ahead and get to the proceedings. All right, so boom. We sitting there waiting for my case number to be called. So they called my name, her name, case number, blah, 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 blah. I go to the defense side. She go to the whatever they side called. And so we sitting over there. So they was like, so they asked her to come up and tell her story. Rap. Bruh, this is exactly how her story went. So she gets up there. She was like, yeah, I text him. I was going to get my hair done that day. And it was a girl that me and him both knew, and it was passing his house. We had been going through some things. So I texted him and asked him, could I come over? He told me, yeah. And then I went over there, and he went through my phone, and he saw some stuff. And he just got so angry, and he grabbed me, he picked me up, he slammed me on the table, kicked me over a couch, he stomped on my chest. Bruh, she made it seem like I went Rocky Balboa on her ass, bro. Rocky Balboa. She made it seem like I was the biggest monster abuser in the world. Right? All this. So mind you, I'm 6 feet tall, 280, almost 300 pounds. She every bit of 5'6", 5'7", maybe 110, 120 pounds. The judge looked at that, right? So he took his glasses off, he listening, he was like, okay. So what else happened? Well, the whole time he was doing it, he was yelling and screaming, telling me to get out, get out, get out, get out. Boom, 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 all this type of stuff. So she said all that. So the judge was like, okay. So when you got out the house, what did you do? I got in my car, and then what? I sat there. The judge looked. He was like, okay. About how long did you sit there? About 10 minutes. He was like, okay. So then what? Then I went next door to his grandma's house. Oh, okay. What did you go there for? I just needed her to talk to him. And then what? His mama came, made him come down there, and then I left. And the judge was like, okay, so what did you do after you left? Well, I went home, I told my parents what happened. My mama took me to the emergency room and all this type of stuff. And then her sister blurted out, and she was limping and she was hurt. Okay. So he pulled out the paper, I guess her medical reports, right? So the judge was like, yeah, I got that here, from the doctor when you went to the emergency room. So he looked through, he said, the doctor doesn't state anything here other than a scratch on your ankle. A very small scratch at that. And she was like, she just was quiet. And then he was like, so in the whole process of him jumping on you, telling you to get out, you say he was telling you to get out, get out, get out. Was he holding you against your will? She responds, no. Was he blocking the door in any type of way? She responds, no. He said, well, why didn't you just leave? She responds, I don't know. So then he asked her, so when you got out, you proceeded to go outside of his house and sit in your car for 10 minutes. Why didn't you leave then? I don't know. And then after that, you decided to not leave, but go next door to his grandmother's house so she could talk to him for you? Yeah. Why? I don't know. He said, ma'am, it's your job and the prosecutor's job to show me beyond the shadow of a doubt that he did what you said he did. And from what you're telling me, from the medical things I got, he's a pretty big guy. And you're a very petite girl. It doesn't sound like to me that he did what you said he did. It sounds like to me, you were just a girl that didn't want to be broken up with. My nigga, I saw her soul for the second time leave her body. Nigga. Oh, let me turn these lights on for y'all. Hold on. For the second time, I saw her soul leave her body. Bruh, she was devastated. You came to court 4 years later, knowing I didn't do nothing to you, to lie, and not even, you had 4 years to come up with a better story. But I'm gonna tell you what messed her up was going to the ER. For as big as I am and all the stuff you said, kicking you in the chest and throwing you over tables, the couch, all this extra stuff you said I was doing, right? You didn't have a bruise, a black eye, a busted lip, a scratch on your ankle. And I'm pretty sure that's from when she probably fell out the door. It could have came from anything. The story it didn't make sense. Because if I'm screaming at you to leave and I'm beating you the way you say I am, I'm abusing you the way you say I am, why are you not leaving? Just leave. The only truth to your story was the fact that I was telling you to leave, right? So that's what the judge said. So the judge asked me, did I have anything to say? I forgot to put in her story, she put out that I broke her phone. So when the judge asked me, did I have anything to say? I said, no, sir. I said, but I do admit that I might have broke her phone when I threw it out the door. So the judge was like, well, look, we're not here for the phone, so I can't say anything about that. If you were here for the phone, I probably could have got you the money for the phone back, but that's not what we're here for. What we're here for is that you said that he abused you and beat you, which I cannot find evidence of. Not in your medical report, and your story definitely doesn't make sense. Sir, you're free to go. Deuces, boy, I was out that thing, boy, I was outside. Yeah, nigga. My mama said, come on, let's go. Boy, I got up out that thing, boy, I was so happy. 30 days, bro. 30 days I was in jail over a lie. And from that point on, I said, if I ever had anything else dealing with a female and it seemed like it was anything dealing with a female and it seemed like it was getting out of hand, I'm calling 911. Forget you having to call 911. I'm calling 911. Because, bro, I refuse to sit in jail or have my name dragged through the mud because a female decides she's upset, knowing good and damn well they gonna believe her over me. I'm calling the police. Don't worry about it. We gonna get the police here. We'll figure it out. So that's why I said I had to say that, because that's gonna come into play in tomorrow's story. But, yeah. So after I got out of jail, man, I lost my job behind that because I never got any paperwork from the court saying that I was innocent or anything like that. They just told me to go. So when I went to my job to tell them what happened, they said I needed paperwork or I was let go, and it was a lot going on at the time, and I was just like, you know what, you're cool. Lost my job, got another one right after, but it is what it is. But bruh, 30 days of my life lost because I get cheated on and I decided to end a relationship right then and there, and she decides she just wasn't finna let it go without a fight. Yeah, and that's what happened. So, appreciate y'all for listening to the story. If you made it to this part of the video, please hit that subscribe button, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what y'all think. Tomorrow's story, the time an ex broke into my house and stole all my shit. I'll holler at y'all. Peace.